Howdy, y'all. Welcome back. This is episode 14 of Grief Talks with Noel, and thank you for choosing to open the video and find out what we're going to discuss tonight. Happy to be back with you tonight. I was off last week. As I mentioned in my previous episode, I am taking an intentional break every 3 weeks. I'm intentionally working to add more levity to my life. Grief is something that's always with me. I think about grieving people, hurting people all the time. It's a burden, a mantle that God has chosen me to carry, and I'm honored that He's entrusted me with this. But it can be heavy. It can be really heavy sometimes, and I have to make sure that I'm taking breaks and I'm trying to add levity to my life. And I feel so deeply for those who lose loved ones, especially if it doesn't even matter if it's sudden or not. That doesn't mitigate the pain at all. I internalize rather what they're going through. And social media is replete with people posting about loss, and so social media breaks are in order as well. If you feel overwhelmed by the things that you see on your timeline, your news feed, then by all means, take a break from social media. I might actually do that once a week as well, and that will help you to regulate the emotions that you're feeling. But like I was saying, I take it all, and I think I've always been a sensitive person. I've always been a sympathetic person, but the level of empathy that I now have, I think that's episode 11, sympathy versus empathy. The level of empathy that I now have is so intensified because I understand it. I'm living it. I'm going through it. So I'm able to relate to those who are experiencing loss because I know it's coming. I know what they're going to go through, what they're going to feel. And that's one of the reasons why I created this channel, because I want to help. I want to give a resource to those who are hurting, because there's such a stigma associated with talking about vulnerability. That's a lie. That's a lie. In fact, being openly vulnerable, being open about your feelings and your emotions is one of the most courageous things that you can do, because you're really putting yourself out there. And it's actually also one of the wisest things that you can do, because talking about something is the first step towards healing. So if you have any hope of feeling any better, any hope of ever possibly fathoming moving on with your life, moving forward with your life, not on, because you'll never move on from loss. You'll move forward. If you ever want to move forward, you've got to start to heal. You have to. And the first, most critical step in healing is feeling. So that's why this channel is here, to help you, to help me, to help all those who are hurting. But as we're journeying, it's important to make sure that you're taking a break as well and finding levity and joy on purpose. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I hope that you're doing the same. All right, episode 14, Grief Talks with Noel. Here we go. We know this. Grief Talks with Noel. If you want to send me an email to tell me, hi, or you want to say that you're enjoying the channel or you don't like the channel, I don't know, whatever you want to say, inbox me, DM me, text me, whatever you'd like to do, just to communicate. I'd like to know that you're out there. So speaking of loss, COVID-19, it's everywhere that you look. And again, I can't say this enough. Try your best to take breaks. Try your best to regulate, to self-soothe. Even in my family, not specifically related to that, but loss is so prevalent. I lost 4 family members since you and I last saw each other. I lost 4 family members in that short amount of time. None of them were immediate family, but that does not make the loss any less sad. So it's hard to deal with, and it's everywhere, all around us. So we've got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, okay? Tonight's episode is about a very simple anatomical function that we all have experienced and that we all need to make sure we're experiencing regularly. Tonight's episode is called Tears Are Important. We're going to talk about why tears are important. All right, first let's explore it scientifically. I like to give you factual information sometimes as well before I add a more practical alternative perspective to what we're talking about. So scientifically, I didn't even know this until I did all this research. Tears, there's actually three kinds of tears. 3 different types of tears. You ready? The first type, and I'm going to glance over here at my notes so I make sure I'm saying things correctly. The first type is called Basil tears, nothing to do with the herb that you might put in pasta sauce. Basal tears, BASAL tears, are basically tears that are always with you, in that they're responsible for keeping your corneas lubricated. They're responsible for maintaining a layer of lubrication on your cornea to make sure that your eye is adequately moisturized. Okay? BASAL, first type of tears. Second type of tears are called reflex tears. Those are the tears that occur in response to something irritating your eye. So if you get eyelash in your eye, or a little gnat, flies in your eye, or you're cutting onions and the fumes start to irritate your eyes, whatever is happening to irritate your eyes, your reflex tears go into work to make sure that you're protecting and washing out whatever the irritant is. They're trying to get it out of there. So the reflex tears go into work to make sure that your eyes are ridding themselves of whatever is irritating them. And then finally, emotional tears. And this is the kind of tears that most of us are probably most familiar with, or that, and sadly, have the most negative connotation. People think emotional tears are a bad thing, and they're really not. And I'm hoping by the end of this episode, you'll understand why tears are important. So scientifically, we've got 3 types: basal, reflex, and emotional tears. Emotional tears are basically the ones that we're probably most familiar with. When we're experiencing extreme emotion, our response can often be manifested through tears. All right, here's a little bit more scientifically. Let me glance over here. As your brain processes emotion, your automatic nervous system is activated. Okay, so as your brain starts to process that emotion, your automatic nervous system is activated, and tears are often a response that your body has once your automatic nervous system is activated. Going a little further, tears contain a hormone called ACTH. That stands for adrenocorticotropic hormone, basically the stress hormone. All right, so as you're experiencing extreme stress, you're going through extreme emotions, your body produces that ACTH, right? And ACTH is responsible for regulating the amount of cortisol in your body. Cortisol it's a hormone that controls your fight or flight response. All right, so you're going through all these emotions, everything's going on in your mind, you're all, in a tizzy. That cortisol is activated also in your body. But sometimes if you're experiencing extreme emotion and neither fight nor flight is an appropriate response, you can't get physical with it, that cortisol has nowhere to go, so it's not needed. And that ACTH starts to build up in your body excessively. Excessive amounts of ACTH that are not released can cause panic attacks and hypertension and all kinds of heart problems, things that you don't want. So in order to release that ACTH, your body has a very natural, very perfect solution for doing that. Tears. Tears literally, scientifically, relieve and release and reduce stress. That's why they're important scientifically. They literally, can't you think about a time where you had a good cry? Didn't you feel a little better afterwards? Your situation may not have even changed, but you felt better on the inside, at least. So tears literally reduce stress. That ACTH level in your body, the levels are building up, they have to get out. Those tears contain ACTH, that stress hormone. And when you cry, you are relieving yourself and releasing stress from your body. Tears are important scientifically. Now, on a more practical level, I always like to give you, another way to look at things. On a more practical level, this is something that I've learned. This is not scientific. This is something that Noel Ginyard has learned while I've been crying continuously in this phase of my life. Tears are important because tears clear your vision. Tears bring clarity. What I mean by that is, as I'm going through this grief, as we're grieving, we're trudging through the mud of it, we're having emotional ups and downs, I am so drained that I do not have the emotional strength. I don't have the gas, the fuel to keep up any pretenses that I had previously established about any person, any situation, or anything. I'm out of gas. I don't have the strength to keep up this image of you, or an image of a situation or a concept or a schema of what a scenario is. I can only see things for what they literally are. because my tears have literally washed away all this, this prejudice even that I have about who you are or about what the situation is. All those preconceived notions are gone, washed away by the tears, and now I see things for exactly what they are. I see people for exactly who they are because I don't have the gas, I don't have the energy to generate other opinions or to carry on other opinions. I don't. So every situation is what it is right now in front of me. I have never been so clairvoyant in my life. I see people for who they are. I see things for what they are. I see situations, whereas I may have given people more of the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not saying it's turned me into a cynic. It's just made me more of a realist. My tears have really cleared my vision. And they'll do the same thing for you because you won't have the energy to spend trying to uphold or resuscitate an image or a concept or whatever that you have of someone or something. You ain't got the gas for it, so you literally see it for what it is. So tears are important because they bring clarity. They clear your vision. They allow you to see things for what exactly they are. Scientifically, they literally relieve stress. The ACTH hormone is carried in tears. Practically, they clear that vision right up, and you see things for what they are. So I don't want people to feel like there's anything wrong with crying. I saw a post on social media the other day from someone who just lost her spouse, and she said, I'm still crying. And her spouse passed like 2 weeks ago. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, of course you're still crying. There's nothing wrong with crying. I'm 16 months in almost since I lost my father, and I still cry heavily, regularly. Every day may not be a boo-hoo, fallout, snot and session, but I shed tears most days. And guess what? I don't want to stop doing that. I don't ever want to disconnect, rather. I don't ever want to detach from my emotions so much so that I suppress that ACTH and I don't let it out. That extreme emotion that is going to be generated in my body for the rest of my life, I don't ever want to separate myself from that so much or suppress that so much where I don't release it. I don't acknowledge it or release it. So tears are important. Cry, baby, cry. Let it out. I don't care who you are, what age you are, where you come from, male or female. Guys, you have to let your emotions out too. Everyone needs to cry. Scientifically, it's helpful, and practically, it helps you stay focused, honestly. Tears are important. So please, cry me a river. That was funny. Did you laugh at the end? I hope you laughed. Anyway, thank you. Episode 14 is now complete. Thanks so much for checking me out again. And I will see you next week. Please stay safe. Love your loved ones. Be conscious of what's going on in the world. Be careful. Protect yourselves. Use wisdom. And join me again next week. And keep crying. And remember, tears are important. And there's one more thing. Oh, yeah. Let's keep talking. Bye.